Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I have just bought some stuff for this, so hopefully this goes well, and spent about an hour trying to work out how to do this magic. Mainly how to avoid getting volume in the webcam to be echoed, basically. It was kind of annoying and took me like 30 minutes. Also, managed to get how to do tabs and not have OBS, so I can have OBS on my screen, but you won't see it. Because I worked out how you can record tabs and that kind of thing. So, basically, the whole plan for this is I am just going to go over the basics again, go over some things, and then do a 500-point game. So the two lists I've made are first off this one right here. This is a list using my Space Marines. Don't worry about the faction being the Salamanders. This is just Space Marines for now. And don't worry about this first company task force. This is a detachment. I'll be going over it later, but for now, don't worry about it. It comes with a captain in Gravis armor, 10 heavy intercessor squads, a lieutenant, 5 Stern Guard veteran, and an invader ATV. As you can see, basically, uh, this is how you would make your Warhammer lists. You would basically have a set amount of points. Here it's 500, as can be seen here. And basically, you would add units to that up to a certain pointage, and then you would play the game like this. The second army I have for today is Tyranids, precisely 500 points. Is Death Leaper, 5 hyper-adaptive Raveners, a Tyranid Prime with Whiplash, 10 Hormagaunts, 3 Von Ryan Leapers, and Spore Mines. That is the two lists for today. I'm using this table roster website. However, what I would recommend is New Recruit. Mainly, that just makes it easier to show and to add leaders. New Recruit is much better for making 40k lists. For example, this is how you would make the Space Marine lists. Imperiums, Adeptus Astartes. We will go regular Space Marines for now. Name it whatever. Test 1. 500 point limit. Create list. You would then go on. Battle sizes. This is how many points the game is. You won't be clicking on any of these because it's a 500-point game, but usually you run games at 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000 points. Detachments. This is something I'll go over later, but these affect your army as well and give you certain command and stratagems. However, down on this side, you have all these units to choose from. So we took a captain in Gravis armor for 80 points. We then took a lieutenant. Now you can click on these characters and they give you options. So my Gravis captain is my warlord. This has no impact on the game besides a couple of cards or abilities, etc. for some units. So, my warlord has a Boltstorm Gauntlet, a Power Fist, and a Relic Weapon. This is his loadout. His Relic Weapon is a Relic Blade. My lieutenant does not have this. My lieutenant has a mass-crafted Power Sword, a Storm Shield, and a Neo-Volkite Pistol. Now, technically, the model doesn't have this. The model doesn't have the shield. That's the only difference. That won't matter since we're not playing with WYSIWYG currently. What you see is what you get. Battle line, we had a squad of 10 heavy intercessors, 2 of which will be having heavy bolters. Because we'll have 9 of these, drop 1 down, 2 of them. Drop another 1 down. You get 1 unit with heavy bolter for every 4 and 5 heavy intercessors. 1 of them can be equipped with a heavy bolter. So I have 8 heavy intercessors, means that 2 of them can have heavy bolters instead of heavy bolt rifles. And finally, we have, where are they? Company squad, company heroes. Leave. Check. Nope, Stone Guard Veteran Squad. My bad. Great search function down here. Stone Guard Veteran Squad. These guys have many options. This is where sort of Warhammer comes into its truest form. But basically, now, my leader has an Astartes chainsword and a bolt pistol. However, bolt pistol is not an option, so I'm just going to take the Stern Guard bolt rifle as the Stern Guard bolt pistol. Next, I do not have 4 units with close things. I have 1 with a special weapon and remove them. Actually, wait, hang on. This is a lie then. Because one of my guys has a Stern Guard combi weapon, so we will take that instead. Actually, no, he cannot have a heavy weapon. So yeah, all of these will have bolt rifles, even though one of my guys technically has a combi weapon. The special weapon is usually heavy. We've gone with a pyro cannon on my one, as my Space Marines are more fire themed. So I want there to be a lot of flamers and a lot of pelters. This is the point of the list. 75 points, 190, because I'm missing an ATV. This glorious machine, which has multi-melters, and that's the list. That's simply how you make the list. You can do it on New Recruit, this is what I recommend. I've just made it simpler on here so it's easier to look at. So we can just click on the unit and it's all on here for you. I'll zoom in and out when I do stuff, and it also allows me to look at the core stratagems and just zoom in on those for you. Which actually means I don't need Wahapedia open, because I have New Recruit if needed. But yeah, no, I also figured out how to do this magic trick. Ta-da! I have a webcam. Sorry, it's a bit grainy. Also, kind of out of position now. Mm. Mm. Great, it's wobbling. Why it's wobbling? Apologies. Apologies, it's wobbling slightly, I think. Oh no, I think it's stopped now. Okay, so Tyranid wise, I've already described it. So basically, the plan is today to do one game of 500 points. However, we will be going over the basic rules of what I taught last time, using the lieutenant with his blade. This is technically meant to be a different model. Bring the webcam for you. This is meant to be another model. This is an exclusive Astartes champion. However, the Astartes champion is in fact a Legends unit, which means he doesn't get updated with rules as regularly, and runs the risk of being removed in the next edition. He can also be proxied as a Judiciary, and a Lieutenant technically, due to the fact that he does have a power sword and a Volkite pistol. We'll be putting him in the center, so here. We will then be taking Tyranid Prime. We will just be using a Tyranid Prime for this example, a winged Tyranid Prime. So, if I go quickly, and just grab a winged Tyranid Prime. So, we have a winged Tyranid Prime versus a lieutenant. Now, magic. We now have the stat sheet. A winged Tyranid Prime is 65 points. Movement characteristic of 12, as shown by this 12 number here. Unfortunately, you can't see my mouse. I didn't realize that was a thing, but that's fine. You have a toughness of 5, a 4 up save, a 6 up wound, 7 up leadership, and a 1 OC. And it only has one melee weapon. There's 2 core abilities, which we will go over both of them shortly, and 2 faction abilities I'll also go over. More often synapse with 2 abilities on there. Now, you don't have to worry about enhancements for now. This drop down section over here, don't worry about that, we'll go over that later. The more info button basically describes the unit composition, how many things are in the unit, what it can lead, so what units this model can lead, the faction keyword, what faction it's a part of, so what armies it can be taken in, and keywords. These are important. So you have infantry, so anti-infantry weapons critical wound on this model. It's a character, so anti-character weapons also can crit wound on this model on certain things. Fly for your anti-fly. Then you have Great Devourer, Synapse, Vanguard Invaders, and Winged Tyranid Prime. These keywords are for command point stratagems. Your strats basically that might have this keyword, like it can only be used on a Vanguard Invader model, or detachment abilities that are specified to that. We'll put this up against the lieutenant. Actually, no, we won't put it up against the lieutenant. We'll put it up against the judiciary. Now, the judiciary is a 70-point model, so 5 extra point model. He is a 6-up move. He has a 6-up move, toughness 4, 3 up save, 4 up inform, 4 wounds, 5 up leadership, OC1, with a pistol and a relic blade. He only has 1 core ability, being leader, and a faction ability, which we will go over today, over the moment. He also has 2. While this model is leading a unit, he gains the fight first core ability. But no, and then he has Silent Fury. Each time this unit destroys an enemy character until the end of the battle, add 1 to the attack characteristic of its Executioner's Relic Blade. Means you can start stacking up attacks on this. Ignoring enhancements for now, still. We're going to the other section quickly. Sorry. That is the Stone Veteran Squad. Judiciary. More information. It can lead this unit. Oh, I didn't realize it could lead Stone Guard Veteran. Okay, we're going to have a switch up quickly. We will drop the lieutenant and actually give him the Stern Guard Veteran Squad instead. Didn't realize he could lead them. Actually, no, it's slightly over points. It's fine. This is a test game anyway. Ignoring enhancements. But yeah, he can lead this unit. He has the Deadness Astartes faction keyword and has the Imperium, Tacticus, and Judiciary for any of your detachments or command stratagems. But yeah, so we will be doing a Judiciary versus Winged Tyranid Prime. So then, let's get on to rolling, shall we? We have the webcam enabled. Full light adjustment. Rolling dice, actually. What's that measuring it? Apologies for that. Alright. Alright, so. The plan for this will be 2 things. Firstly, one roll off. These purple dice will be for Tyranids. These white dice will be for the Judiciary. So we're going to roll off to see who gets to basically deploy first. Move all these units out of the way here. We will not have terrain. Who gets to deploy first? In the deployment phase, Tyranids. Roll 5. Don't know if you can see that. They rolled a 5. While Space Marines rolled a 1. I think you can slightly see that. It's really grainy. I apologise. They rolled a 1. So, the general player will let the Space Marine player deploy first. Place of the Judiciary here. Then the Winged Tyranid deploys here. Now, moving on to who goes first. Again, it's a roll-off. Gene's here. Oh, Tyranid player has a 3. Judiciary got a 5. The Judiciary gets to go first. So, onto the movement phase. As can be seen, he has a 6-up movement and no additional benefits to move. He doesn't get to advance and charge. So, let's measure the distance, shall we? The Judiciary is currently 19 feet away from the Tyranid Prime. Having a 6-up movement makes it a 13-inch move. He cannot effectively get into charge range. First turn. However, as seen on his datasheet, he has this is a 17-inch actually, so it makes it 11-inch charge. Because he can move up to the 11 mark and make the charge. He's actually 17 inches away from the base. I apologise. So we can make the charge turn 1. However, on 2d6, the probability is a 3 in 36 chance. So a 1 in 13 chance to make that charge. Space Marine player, of course, is not going to take that chance. And instead, is going to just move 1 inch to 17 inches. He's actually just not going to move, actually, as he has an 18-inch absorbable pistol. As we can see here, it is 1 attack, hitting on freeze, strength 5, AP 1, damage 2. So, hitting on freeze, Space Marine player has scored a 6. I'll be showing you this dice. Now it's strength 5. If we go to the Tyranid Prime, I'm actually going to duplicate this so that we can have these both. So instead of going back and forth, all I have to do is literally do this. As can be seen on the Tyranid Prime, it's T5 versus a strength 5 weapon. Let me zoom in a bit. So, the Judiciary is wounding on falls as a same weapon with the same strength as the toughness characteristic of the model means it's a 4-up. The Space Marine player scored a 4. Now, if we take a look here, the Space Marine player's weapon is AP1. Going into a Winged Tyranid Prime with a 4-up save, that turns the save into a 5-up. The Tyranid player scored a 5. I should really be doing the pink dice. Actually, I didn't record that. We'll roll that again. Still the same result. Scored a 5. The Winged Tyranid Prime does not take 2 damage. It just makes the save on a 5-up. Now, the Space Marine player is at 17-inch charge. You cannot make that charge on 2d6, so the Space Marine player is not allowed to charge. Moving on to the Winged Tyranid Prime's turn. 12-inch move. This is fantastic. As we measured, they're 17 inches away. This makes it a 5-inch charge. So, the Tyranid player is going to move in. With 12 inches, the Tyranid player can get over here. This makes the distance a 5-inch charge. Now, onto the shooting phase, and as seen on the stat block, the Winged Tyranid Prime doesn't have a shooting. So we go right into charges. Winged Tyranid Prime needs a 5-up to get into charge range. And it's scored an 8. This can be seen here, which helpfully gets the Winged Tyranid Prime into close combat. Now the Judiciary, as can be seen technically, gets an ability. Fights first. However, only while this model is leading the unit, and since we're still in 10th edition, he is not currently leading the unit. Actually, that would have matter in 11th edition, because he's not leading the unit full stop. So he does not gain the fight's first ability, which would be important here, but we'll save that for later. So, all we need to worry about is the winged Tyranid primes. 6 attacks. The winged Tyranid prime is going to use its prime talents, its only weapon, for 6 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 6, AP 1, damage 2. This is in Synapse range, however, since we did not use over a moment, we will not be using Synapse for now. But it is 6 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 6. Looking back at the 6 range toughness of 4 means it's wounding on 3s, as the strength of the weapon is higher than the toughness of the model, so it's wounding on 3s. Making this AP1 means he's saving on 4-ups. This invuln saves we'll talk about a bit later. It's 2 damage a pop, and as can be seen by the 4 wounds, needs 2-1 saved. So, let's begin the rolling, shall we? On choose the weapon skill. Unfortunately, we've got 1-1, so this is now 5 shots. Wounded on 3s because strength 6 into toughness 4. We got 1-2. Now, Space Marine player is saving on 4s because it's AP1 and the Judiciary has a 3-up save. So saving on 4s, I'm using the wrong dice. My apologies. 4 saving on 4s, mathematically speaking, you should save half of these. Or the Space Marine player can save all but 1. This means he takes damage of the weapon. The damage characteristic is at the end of the weapons table. Being 2 damage, meaning the Space Marine has effectively 4 wounds, means he's left on 2 wounds. This is allocated by the damage marker here that has the 2 on it, means he's got 2 wounds remaining. However, the Judiciary gets to fight back. He has an Executioner's Relic Blade, which is 5 attacks. Hitting on 2s, strength 7, the prime as seen as T5. So, this means you're still wounding on 3s. AP2, damage 2. So let's go through the attacks. So this means the prime is saving on 6s as a 4-up save. 2 damage a pop, 3 of these need to get through. So, let's do this, shall we? The Space Marine player is going into the Tyranid prime. Now, that's all hitting. Now, as can be seen, this weapon has precision, will not matter for now, sorry my bad, has precision, which doesn't matter for now, and devastating wounds. Any 6s, or critical wounds in this case, so 6s in this case, but it's critical wounds, so anti-monster and vehicle will be on that number instead, because those are criticals are scored on that number. So, any 6s result in the opponent this auto going through. Automatically, you do not get a save on any 6s. Strength 7, so wounded on 3s. We've had 3 fails here. And since it's 2 damage of a pop, unfortunately the Judiciary can't kill this turn. Now the Tyranid must make 2 6-up saves, because this is AP2 on a 4-up save. So it's 6 ups. The Tyranid fails both, and so falls down to 2 wounds as well. Now, it is the Space Marine player's turn. They have a pistol weapon, so, as you can see on their page, they have the keyword pistol, which means they still get to attack in melee with their pistol, even though they are an infantry. This is 1 attack hitting on a 3. Oh god. This is 1 attack hitting on a 3. Scoring a 6, wounding on a 4 that is strength. This weapon is a strength 5 versus a T5 target. Yes, so wounding on 4. Fails to wound. Unfortunately, the pistol doesn't do anything. Now, moving on to charges. Well, there are no more charges to be made, so we're moving on to the fight phase. Now, due to the fact that the Tyranid Prime charged last turn, it still has charge priority, and thus gets to fight before. So, we know the stat line for the Tyranid Prime for now. It's 6 attacks. Weapon skill 2. Weapon skill is 2 up. So on 2s, these 6 attacks go through. failing none of them, and at strength 6, these attacks are wounding on freeze. We have a failure and a second failure. Now the Space Marine player needs to make 4 saves on 4 up, put AP1 into a save of 3 up. It fails all of them. The Judiciary is killed, the Winged Pyramid Prime lives, which means we do not have to explain its ability. This is just a reminder of what we did yesterday. We will go over some cool stratagems as well, and I will show you them, as was done yesterday. However, for now, we're going to actually practice the army building. So, as stated, we have a captain in Gravis armor, armed with a relic blade and a power fist with a boltstorm gauntlet on. We have then assembled him with heavy intercessors. These are your standard battle-line infantry in Gravis armor, what GW hoped would be the Terminator replacements. Unfortunately, it didn't get round to that. Terminators are still a very popular thing, and GW kind of screwed it, making these guys kind of painful in a way. There's not a lot of people like them. Kind of cool, especially their sort of diversions. Like sort of the aggressors and the eradicators are some of the cooler models in my opinion, and wouldn't work in Terminator armor. However, Gravis armor they do, and it's quite cool. Next, we have the Judiciary. I'm going to run it with a squad of 5 Stern Guard veterans. These are the chapter's elite infantry. These are the battle lines that have been promoted and company sort of lesser company heroes and more veterans. Stern Guard veterans. It's in the name. And the captain Gravis armor leading them. Plus, glorious ATV. This all-terrain vehicle is on 4 wheels, has a melter gun or a Gatling gun, depending on how you build it, above the driver's head. Hope he has noise cancelling. Versus a Tyranid Prime with Flashlight, who the Winged Tyranid Prime is proxying, 10 Hormigons. I am missing a Hormigon from last episode, which is annoying. We are then doing 5 Raveners, 3 Muciloid Spore, 3 Spore Mines, and 3 Von Ryan Leapers. This gives you a sort of 50-50 on how the sort of, it's 500 points each, a bit more for the Space Marines, it's 10 extra points. But basically, yeah, here we'll be going over the army rules for both Tyranids and Space Marines, and the stratagems used in the core stratagems again. And also going over fun stuff like terrain rules. So I'm going to set up a terrain. Hmm? Very odd. I thought you had more room. Okay. Swear I had more room than this. Let's go this that goes there, we move that there. And we'll move that back a bit. That should be good enough. Got to sort of see there where that cup is anyway. Move the cup up a bit. So here. Do this then. We'll do this terrain layout. So, here you can go over the basics and sort of how deployment actually works and you're not just done 1v1 basically. So we're going to remove all the things from the battlefield. we're going to have to measure. Now, 4 feet gain. So, actually, no, we'll do it 3 feet instead. So we're going to have 3 feet, and each person will have a 6-inch deployment zone. For 500 points, that's not bad. So we're going from 3 feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to a 30 feet line. Good. Now, then for Tyranids, same thing. From roughly 3 feet over there, down 3 feet to 30 feet. That's the deployment zones. I'm just organizing this for now. I am missing a Hormigod, so you will see one weird creature. It is a Neurogod being proxied as a Hormigod until I find it. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 Hormigods. I'm missing one. It has to be in somewhere in here. We need to do a prime. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because the last one's over here. The rabbit's over here. Redacted reference. Okay. No. Let's see who goes first. Space Marines will be using some coloured dice instead of red dice, just to be a bit clearer. So, Tyranids are still going to use the pink dice. Gonna roll for the Space Marines. They got a 2. Tyranids got a 3. So, Tyranid player is going to get to decide who deploys first, and the Tyranid player would like to deploy first. So, now then, here we get to the interesting part here. Into the interesting part here. If we have a look here, you can see the hybrid adapters have an R, and we've got a new thing up here, reserves. This is because the Tyranid player has put the hyperactive Raveners in Deep Strike. Deep Strike is an ability some units have. For example, none of these other ones of these have it, but some units have a core ability. We go down here, called Deep Strike. Oh god. A core ability called Deep Strike. And so, basically, the unit doesn't have to be deployed turn 1. Let me count my dice quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ah, yes, I have an extra dice here. A dice that should not be. No. 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 New. Yes, this is a dice. I have a dice that has a Tyranid symbol on the 6 instead of 1. That's not all my dice. One of my really close people has those dice. I need to get that back. Wait, I have 2 then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, I have 2 of their dice. Well, that's unfortunate. Anyway, as I was saying, these have an ability called Deep Strike, where it allows them to go into what's called Deep Strike or reserves. They can be brought out from turn 2 to turn 4. If they're still in deep reserves by turn 4, they get destroyed at the end of turn 4. Now then, they get to come anywhere on the board further than 9 inches of the opponent. That's the deep strike rule. They cannot come in closer than 9 inches. So, the junior player gets to go first. We've put the hyperactive Raveners into reserve. We have 2 units here that have special rules. Death Leaper has Lone Operative, Fights First, Infiltrator, and Stealth. We also have the Von Ryan Leapers, which have a similar stat profile here. with Fights First, Infiltrator, and Stealth, as can be seen here. Now then, the Certian player gets to pull the boy first. Also, if we move the cup out, the cup should be somewhere. Now, for the cup here. Oh god, I forgot to turn the webcam on. Yep, oh. I think so anyway. Yeah, no. Webcam come back online. Okay, so. And it's still the same question. Infiltrators, basically. The unit has to be deployed for within 9 inches of the opponent's deployment zone, and for within 9 inches of all any enemy models. Means basically, at turn 1, you can't deploy within opponent's 9-inch border. So the Warhammer Reapers cannot deploy further than this one corner here, unless the opponent has any infiltrator units. I don't have any infiltrator units. So, I can deploy my Magician, Death Leaper, here. So I cannot deploy no further than this corner. This is Death Leaper, an epic hero, so you can only bring one of these. Models with the epic hero keyword can only be brought one per army, and cannot have an enhancement on them. Sorry about that, I thought it was covered. Now it's Space Marines' turn. They're going to deploy the ATV over here. This is within the deployment zone, don't worry. And this deployment zone, long ways, is called Dawn of War, I believe. There are different deployment zones and maps, however this is the most common one used, especially for casual games, as it's the easiest to set up, for terrain and such. The angle may be a bit weird due to the fact you're not perfectly down, you're looking at an angle, I do apologise. Now, the opponent is going to deploy the Tyrian player is going to deploy the 4 online long-line leapers over here, as they also have infiltrate. The Space Marine player is going to respond and deploy the big squad of 10 over here. This is a squad of 10 heavy intercessors led by a captain in Gravis armor. You cannot see all that actually. Well, that's annoying. There's the magical position. Actually, no, further a bit further down. Looks like it's done moving. Yeah, okay, so we'll tuck this in a bit more. So we'll go there. Okay. Might be because this is also on an angle, so it's slightly more tucked in. Just a second. So yeah, because it's at an angle, it was at an angle. That should be much better. So we can twist this a bit more. Let that bring it down a bit. So about there. So you can still see that bit there. Still kind of at an angle. I apologise. So I'm going to put these somewhat of. Score of 10. Then in response, the Tyranid player is going to deploy the 3 nuclear scores. Also, the 3 nuclear disposable beams. Correct, actually. I forgot to mention that. These aren't often played. The winged Tyranid Prime, however, with the winged, not the winged, the regular Prime, is going to be deployed alongside a sort of 10 Horn Orgons, as it can lead those, but that is the winged version that it can't. Oh, good. Oh, good. Who knew? That's an issue, unfortunately. Hmm. Sorry guys, give me a second. Sorry, I just found the thingy to plug my computer into the TV. I needed that a while ago. Don't need it now. There you go. My apologies, my laptop was dying, but now it's on charge. All good. So, yes, the 10 horn quads were being deployed, as such. Now, you have to keep them within unit cohesion. Basically, a model has to be within 2 inches of another model in that unit. Not another, 2 models in that unit. You cannot mix them into a line. They have to be within 2 inches of another model in that unit. And then finally, the Space Marine players can deploy the 5 Stone Guard veterans with Judiciary. Right there. Now, usually you'd play with objectives. We're not playing with objectives today. We're going to do a simple beat 'em up. Now, as deployment zones have been set, we can remove these dice. The dice have been removed. We no longer need deployment zones. We are going to have a roll off to see who goes first. Space Marine player. Was a 1. Most likely going to go last. Tyranny player. Was a 2. Quite luckily, the Tyranny player scores higher. So, Tyranny player gets to go first. So, Tyranny player gets to go first. We move on to the command phase. Now, there's going to be nothing to happen in command phase for now, but we will have something happen turn 2, hopefully, if there's units still alive. So we're going to move on to movements. Now then. Now we have Death Leaper. Now, one of its abilities actually affects in the command phase. Within 6 inches of Death Leaper, so nothing yet, you must take the Battle Shock test. Death Leaper has 8-inch move, fights first, infiltrate, lone up, and stealth. So 8 inches allows the Death Leaper to move along to the front of this cup. It has to move around the terrain as well. Now, effectively speaking, you should overwatch this. However, we'll show you now. You should overwatch this. However, only one unit is within 12 inches, and that's this guy right here. This unit is within 12 inches and so can shoot Death Leaper in Overwatch. The ATV is also within 12 inches. However, the Stone Guard, the Rabbit squad, cannot shoot it. This is due to the fact that the Death Leaper has the Lone Up ability, which means that a unit cannot be shot at from more than 12 inches away. Now, each person does also get 1 command point here. Going up 1 command point each. We'll keep score of command points over here. 1 command point each. Now, the Tyranny player is not going to do, Space Marine player is not going to do anything yet. Now, given the fact that we've moved Death Leaper, I'm going to move on to the Von Rhine Leapers. These boys have a 10-inch movement, allowing them to quite comfortably get over here. As can be seen. As can be seen, they have moved from this point over here to round and down here. They've used that 10 inches movement to get in there. Now, the Space Marine player will be using his 1 command point. Actually, hang on. My apologies. I think I've forgotten to do something here. You do need 1 PD European, actually. I'm going to close webcam for a second. Because I think I needed to do something in my command phase. Faction. Space Marine. The Space Marine player will be using his one command point. However, we need to double check something. Oh god, is Wahapedia down? No! Wahapedia, don't be down today. 40k. Factions. Space Marines. Don't be down today, Wahapedia. Please don't be down. Do 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 do. Oh no, I think Wahapedia. Nope, it's not. Don't worry about this for now. Do 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 do. You're playing. No supplement. Then we need army rule. Move a moment. This is the army rule for Space Marines. If you can see. Look. If your army is Adeptus Astartes, at the start of your command phase, select one unit from your opponent's army. Until the start of your next command phase, that unit is the other moment target. Each time a model within that ability makes an attack with the other moment target, the unit can reroll the hit roll. If the Codex Space Marine actions and your army does not include one of the following: Black Templars, beep, beep, beep. So basically, Black Templars, as they've crossed out all the others, add one to the wound roll. So, the Space Marine player will be marking both of moment target, which will be marked by these funky dice as the Von Rhein Leapers. Actually, wait, hang on. I'm sorry, they can't do that yet. At the start of your command phase, they cannot mark over the moment, so they don't get that. However, they will still be firing Overwatch to the Von Rhein Leapers with this squad. Now, this is the squad with a. We go up here. Captain Gravis armor. Now you can see all the weapon profiles this has, but we're using the Boltstorm Gauntlet here. Now, once per battle round, you can use one thing, so we'll be using the Rites of Battle actually, so we don't have to use the CP. Now, half the damage characteristic. Lovely. No enhancements and no benefits to leading. It's the Oath of Moment. However, it has the Boltstorm Gauntlet. So, we're going to use this once per battle round ability. So now we have to use points on him, but this is basically a free Overwatch. The Boltstorm Gauntlet has 3 attacks. Ballistic skill 2 up, strength 4, AP 1, damage 1. This, on the Von Rhein Leapers, means as they have the stealth ability, it would be -1 to hit. However, as we're firing Overwatch, Overwatch has the caveat that I only hit on unmodified rolls, so natural rolls of 6s. Stealth does nothing here. Stealth does not, because you always hit on 6s, so -1 to a 6 will mean -1 to hit on 6s would technically mean 7s, but you're always guaranteed to hit on 6s. Stealth does nothing in this case. T5 means I would be wounding these creatures on a 5 up, because I'm strength 4. So, what we're going to do, and a 4 up save with AP1 makes that a 5 up save. So let's roll it then. Space Marine player has gotten 1/6 there. Now then, we're going to roll to wound on a 5 up. Space Marine does not get into the roll to wound. Now then, let's look over to this Heavy Intercessor Squad. We have 8 members with bolt rifles, 1 member with a heavy bolter. Now, there is this objective marker thing, which we will not be focusing on now, but later it will come up. So, each of their heavy bolt rifles, there's 8 of them, have 2 attacks, so that's 16 attacks. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. 16 attacks, hitting on 6s because we're overwatching here. Now, the Space Marines, these guys scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 6s. So 6 critical hits out of 16 shots. Now these are strength 5 weapons on a T5 model, so we're wounding on 4s, and at AP1, this means each one is on a 5-up save. So on 4s, because toughness 5, strength 5. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them go through at AP -1, so the Von Ryans are making their 5-up saves. The Von Ryans make none of them. Now then, let's check the damage characteristic, shall we? 2. So this is 10 damage. However, Warhammer's funny. Currently in 10th edition, we don't know if they'll change this in 11th. We have a look at Von Ryan Leapers right here. Each one only has 3 wounds, so you would think 10 damage, that wipes the squad because they're each 9 wounds. It in fact doesn't. For each Von Ryan, even though it's 2 damage, well, when you plug one shot in, it does 2 damage. When you plug another shot in, it does 4 damage. So you've overkilled the Von Ryan by 1. This damage does not overlap onto the next one. So it takes 2 shots to kill 1 Von Ryan. So you've actually only left 1 on a single wound, which we'll be using the white dice for. So the Von Ryans have in fact double died. However, that Von Ryan still lives. Now then, you may have seen that they have a heavy bolt rifles when I showed you the lists. They in fact do. A heavy bolt rifle has 3 attacks. This squad has 2 of them. As it's a squad of 10, you take 2 heavy weapons. Why would you not take 2 heavy weapons? You get 6-inch extra range, 1 extra attack, sustained hit 1. Add a bonus. This is free. You take 1 per squad of 5. You always do it. Now, it's 6 attacks, hitting on 6s, but something special happens on 6s as well. I'll show you the webcam. Not a single 6 was achieved. Therefore, Ryan lives. Quite inconveniently. So, now the opponent has used their Overwatch. Let's go have a look at Overwatch quickly, shall we, boys and girls, and people of undetermined gender? Well, we're going to be looking at core stratagems. On command free roll, counter-offensive, epic challenge, insane bravery, grenades, tank shot, rapid ingress, fire and overwatch. As can be seen here, you cannot target a Titanic unit with this, and also you can only use this stratagem once per turn instead of once per phase. Meaning I can't find the Space Marine player can't find me basically. You can no longer fire Overwatch. However, there was an optimal target, because as can be seen, the only other place we could fire Overwatch in is these guys into Death Leaper. However, Death Leaper is still so far away that it has to make a 12-inch charge into these guys, or an 11-inch charge into the ATV. That's it. All Death Leaper has to do. So it's not really a fact. The Von Ryan Leapers, though, could have gone into these, or even the ATV, and quite literally squashed it. However, didn't. So, let's move on to the final bit of movement we need to make with these Tyranids. The Tyranid Primal Flash Whip. Having a 10-inch move, this squad can move 10 inches. Quite fast. However, this squad not only has advance and charge, but is generally so far back that it doesn't matter. So we'll be making an advance roll with these Hormigons to move an extra inch. That's that dice. I'm muddling up the dice, I really shouldn't be. There we go, those are the 2 ones with ones. Okay, this is my dice. I'm actually going to roll my dice here. That's a 1 still. They really only want to move an inch. That moves their 10-inch to an 11-inch movement. Not best. Actually, yeah, it's not that good. We're going to spend the Tyranid player's command point on a command reroll for that advance. For a 2, an extra range. It's not bad. 12-inch movement allows them to move up to in line with the cup's edge. However, instead, they're going to move over here. Strategically, you may be wondering why not move up so you can then charge. Well, you see here, from the cup's edge position, nothing was in really within 12 inches. You might have gotten away with charging the stern guard and judiciary. However, that was a risky charge that, in your opponent's turn, could have been simply targeted by shooting your stuff at the opponent if you failed that charge. It's not a good move, so instead they've chosen to take cover. We're operating on the basis that this is a ruin, that is a ruin, and that is a low wall. Infantry can hide behind walls, however, monsters' vehicles just get benefit of cover behind walls. So then, we'll move on to the charges. The Von Reaper is going to charge into. Now the ATV is a 9-inch charge, 8-inch charge, sorry, which is the same for the Space Marines. So the Tyranid is going to Von Reaper is going to charge into the ATV on a 5. Unfortunately, you can't command reroll this, so that Von Reaper is stuck there now. Now, the Death Leaper is going to charge into the Judiciary squad. On a 7, doesn't make it. Unfortunately, neither charge paid off this turn. Moving on to the Space Marines player's turn. As discovered, they need to choose an overmoment target. They're going to select Death Leaper. As stated, the overmoment targets are a reroll hit rolls and add 1 to the wound rolls if you don't have a critic supplement. Or if you're not Death Watch, actually, I think. If you're not Death Watch. The reason why it's crossed out is still kind of a mystery. Now they're moving on to the Space Marines. Let's have a look at command phase shenanigans. They won't have any for now. ATV. No abilities here. So we're going to move on to the movement phase, where the Stone Guard veterans are going to move. They have a 6-inch move. Now you may be asking, why would the Stern Guard veterans want to move? Well, that's a simple reason. Moving 6 inches gets them there. Now, the Stone Guard veterans want to do one thing only. Get in range of Death Leaper so that they can shoot Death Leaper. They've moved from this position to this position, moving there 6 inches. They want to get in range of Death Leaper in order to shoot it with rapid fire weapons. I'll explain what rapid fire weapons do. The buggy, the ATV, has a movement characteristic of, well, 12 inches. It's going to move over and flank over here. Going to go around here with here. It does not have a base, so it actually requires to take pivot rolls, actually. Means it loses 2 inches of movement. So it's going to point directly at the Von Leaper. It can be seen here. It has pivoted its position, so it must remove 2 inches as it's not on a spherical base, a sphere base. The heavy intercessors will not be moving, however. Now, on to shooting. We're going to plug we're going to plug, so we'll do this one at a time, Judiciary and its squad into Death Leaper. Now, if we have a look at Stone Guard veterans, they have an ability. Each time this model makes an attack targeted the over moment target, reroll the wound rolls. Death Leaper is the over moment target here. So, firstly, we have a Judiciary. Since the Judiciary is part of this unit, it also gets to reroll wound rolls. This is one attack, hitting on a 3, strength 5, AP 1, damage 1. Let's go over the Death Leaper, who is T6. This attack is wounded on thighs. However, due to the fact this is the open moment target and we're not playing a supplemental chapter, I get +1 to wound. But this is wounded on 4s. The Death Leaper does have stealth, however. Stealth is a -1 to hit. So instead of hitting on 3s, the Space Marine player is hitting on 4s with his pistol. That's the 4. The Judiciary does connect, hitting on a 4. That's a 6. Don't have any special abilities for when I critical wound, but this is a normal wound. AP 1 means, oh god, sorry. I keep forgetting to turn the webcam on. Let's do this again to be fair. Hitting on a 4 fails. The Judiciary does in fact fail. I apologise. So, Stern Guard veterans The leader has a stone guard bolt rifle. Four of them actually have four of them have stone guard bolt rifles. One of them has a pyro cannon. I get to reroll hit rolls. My entire mistake here. Over a moment, target get to reroll that hit roll from the judiciary. It is a free, which would hit, but due to the fact that Death Leaper has stealth, I do not get to hit because I then hit on fours. Now the Stone Guard veteran, as can be seen, have multiple abilities: Assault, Devastating Wounds, Heavy, and Rapid Fire 1. Assault is just they can advance and shoot. Heavy, if they don't move, they get +1 to hit, +1 to their ballistic skill. Devastating Wounds we've already gone over. However, its critical wounds automatically go through armor saves. And Rapid Fire 1 means when within half the weapon's range, add X to the attack characteristic. In this case, Rapid Fire 1, add 1 to the attack characteristic. Means that as long as they're within 24 inches, these weapons have 3 attacks each. Quite clearly are. So, there is four guys with bolt rifles. These did move, so they're hitting on 3s. However, Death Leaper has stealth, so hitting on 4s. That's 3, 6, 9, 12. I'll turn on the webcam this time, I do remember. 12 attacks hitting on 4s. This is a lot that's failing, which is unfortunate. It's quite a lot, actually. So only 4 successful hits out of 12 shots. That's a third of them. I'm hitting on 4, so I should have gotten 2 extra shots mathematically. Now we can see the Stone Guard bolt rifles. Oh, wait, hang on. I'm sorry. I get to reroll hit rolls because this is over moment. This is my over moment target. Reroll hit rolls. This has been better. Only 2 out of 16 missed. Now, as seen, this is a strength 4 weapon going to a T6 spin. Would be wounded on 5s. I'm not using a Codex supplement chapter, so I get +1 to wound. And I now get rerolls, so I'm wounding on 4s with rerolls into Death Leaper, as this is a Stone Guard unit. Now I did only get 4 connecting shots. However, I do get to reroll these as these are Stone Guard veterans, to add another 3 to that list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, AP -1 means the Death Leaper on its free up save is actually now saving on 4s. Wrong dice, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 with no reroll, but 7 attacks. Failed 1, 2, 3, 4. Death Leaper has 7 wounds. Each of these attacks is 1 damage. Failing 4 means Death Leaper is officially on 3 wounds. However, this is all the shooting. Oh, both players go up to a command point each. So back at 1-1 currently. I apologise. Death Leaper is now on 3 wounds, however. Now we're going to do the next bit of shooting, which is with the ATV. Now then. The ATV is going to shoot into Death Leaper. It has a bolt pistol, a multi-melter, and twin bolt rifles. Now the bolt pistol has the pistol keyword, which means it cannot be shot with other weapons that don't have the pistol keyword. So you can shoot your pistols or you can shoot your ranged weapons. You cannot shoot both. It also says there's an onslaught Gatling cannon. This is the other weapon option. Pardon me. Besides the multi-melter. So, I've chosen the multi-melter on this unit, so we'll go with the multi-melter. This is going into Death Leaper. So the multi-melter has 2 attacks, hitting on 4 because this Death Leaper does have stealth. With rerolls because over moment. Fails 1. Sorry, I haven't got the webcam on. I'll get better, I do promise. So 2 attacks, hitting on 4 because stealth. Fails 1. That is the exact same roll I got with the same dice as well. Into a 4. 2. Now this is a melter, so it has strength 9. I'm wounding from T6 would be wounded on 3s, but as I'm not using a Codex supplement, this is 2s. I do not get reroll to this because I'm not Stone Guard. So when you're on twos, two go through. Now you may be thinking, there's an AP4 weapon. Death Leaper only has a 3-up save. This would be saving on 7-ups, which is impossible. No. Death Leaper has what we call an invuln save, which means no matter the AP, no matter how high the save gets, if it's greater than the invuln save, you'll take it on the invulns. So this is 2 attacks on 4s. I keep forgetting to turn the webcam on, and these are on the wrong dice as well. 2 attacks on 4s. Fails both. Death Leaper is very dead, because the motor profile is D6. But it also has the Melter 2 keyword. So while within half range, add that to the damage characteristic. So, I'm not within 9 inches, however. Death Leaper is not within 9 inches. Death Leaper is not within 9 inches, I believe. Yeah, no. It touches his cape, which touches the rim, and his cape is not on his base. So it's only D6 damage. Let's roll to see the damage. Death Leaper just took 7 wounds. This would have one-shotted him. He is now dead. The Death Leaper has fallen. Now then, since I've declared everything is going into Death Leaper, even though that we still have the twin bolt rifles to fire, I cannot shoot anything else from the ATV, because we still have the bolt rifles to fire. I cannot shoot into the Von Rhine Leaper. However, the squad of guys is going to go into that Von Rhine Leaper. The captain in Gravis Armor is going to go first. Is the captain in Gravis Armor in range is now the question. The weapon has a 12-inch range. Just in range. This is good. Now they do have stealth. So if we have a look here, it's 3 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 4, AP 1, damage 1. So this is similar to when we overwatched. However, we're now hitting on 3s instead. 4s, actually, because stealth. Hitting on 4s. Hits twice. Still wounding on 5s, though. Both wound. This is 2 saves on 5s because AP 1 on the Von Rhine. That is a failure save. I did roll the wrong dice, but one of those Tyranid dice did fail. So the Von Rhine is dead. So that is all 3 Von Rhines dead. Nothing left to shoot at since I've declared everything into the Von Rhine, so that would be the end of the turn. Both players draw up another command point into the Tyranid's turn 2. Now then, Tyranids are going to do a fun thing. You may be thinking, Tyranids aren't going to do a fun thing actually. We are going to, however, deep strike. We're going to do some deep strike. So, command phase, both players draw up a command point. Now, into the movements, we only have 1 unit to move. 10-inch move, well, the Tyranid player is going to advance because they have advance in charge into a beautiful 11 inches, which allows the models to get over here. In addition, we will now be deep striking. So to stay 9 inches away from units, up a boundary around here. So the Tyranids can sort of deep strike within, I'd say, this area, this small section over here, or they can deep strike up into this corner over here. Which is what they'll do. They'll deep strike over here with a slot. Oh god, that was a rabbit now. They will deploy their spore mines along this line over here. So they have to be more than 9 inches away. They'll deploy the spore mines over here, which also have deep strike. As can be seen by clicking on spore mines and then going down the profile. They have deep strike and synapse. But they are not a synapse creature. Now then, that's the movement size. On to shooting. The Tyranids still have 1 shooting attack left to be made. Hyperdaptive Raveners have a single shooting attack, which will be going into which will be going into the intercessors, the heavy intercessors. D6 plus 3 shots. Ballistic skill NA. This is because the weapon has the current keyword, allowing the unit to basically ignore ballistic skill. Any 2 hits. This is why lethal hits suck on units with current, because they don't roll to hit. Sorry about that. Anyway, so the Raveners are going to be shooting into this squad over here. Oh, 9 inches away, aren't they? Yeah. 9 inches. Oh, the Raveners aren't. Actually, hang on. Yeah, no. The Raveners can get closer. Just realised. So they will be moving closer to basically the very 9 inches. Because you never not want to be within 9 inches. So now I have to move the Raveners slightly closer. So they are still 9 inches away, barely. But they are within 12 inches of that unit, which they will be firing their torrent weapon into. So it's D6 plus 3 shots. So let's see how many shots the Raveners roll. That is 9 shots! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 shots. This is at a strength 6 weapon, going into a unit with toughness 6. So this is toughness 6 from a strength 6 weapon. So the Tyranids are wounded on 4s. Don't get rerolled or anything, just on 4s. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 saves they have to make. Now, Tyranid's weapon is AP 1. Onto these graphics, guys. That's 3 up save. So, that's 5 attacks on 4s. 5 attacks on 4s against AP 1. Let's see. Fails 3 of them. So let's check. The damage is 1. Each one, that's 3 damage. Each one has 3 wounds. That's a Gravis Man destroyed, unfortunately. Now then, moving on to charges, and we've got 3 charges to be made here, actually. So we've got 3 charges to be made here. We'll have the Raveners go into these guys. We'll have these guys go into the ATV. We've got 2 command points each on each unit. So, firstly, the Tyranid Prime and the Horngods getting double 1s, automatic fail. Spend a command point to reroll that. Getting double 2s this time, that's an improvement, that's 4 inches. Now, these 4 inches allow the Tyranid Prime to move all along the vehicle. Straight up and move around here. Now you may be wondering why I'm basically making my units spread out on one side of the vehicle. Because the Space Marine player is about to use another strategy known as heroic intervention. Let us pull up this, detachments, core stratagems. Heroic intervention, which is a 1 CP thing. Now we do need to check if it's within, if you 1 unit from in. So we're going to check now. Stone Guard veterans are within 6 inches of the Horngods. They will be using this 1 CP strategy to try and get within range. I'm going to clear up all these dice sounds, because we've done all our deep strikes. They still need to make the charge roll. That's an 8. They do in fact make the charge roll. Now Stone Guards act as if they're charging for this 1 second. There's an 8-inch charge, so the Stone Guards can go all the way around. They act as if they've made a charge, but they have in fact not made a charge. Which is funky, because I believe, let me do some quick research, because Can you heroic intervention? Can you heroic intervention a opponent's heroic intervention? Hmm. This is very confusing. Heroic intervention. Let's have a look here. Your opponent charge phase just after an enemy unit ends a charge move. You now declare a charge that targets only that enemy unit and resolve that charge if it was your charge phase. So it has made a charge move. So the Tyranid player will spend their last CP on heroic intervention of their own into the Stone Guard veterans with the Raveners. This is a 7. Does this make it in? Yes, the Raveners get comfortably in on the side. Now here's the thing. Actually, I'm sorry. They didn't need to do that. Because it's during your opponent's charge phase. Because the Raveners just charge that unit normally. So, I don't know what, I didn't have to Google, can you heroically intervene a heroic intervening unit because, well, it's your charge phase. This is me being dumb. I apologize. But, so the Ravenous have charged the Stern Guards, and the Hormigons have charged the ATV here. No more charges can be made. Both players sit at 1 command point each, as I only use the command reroll for them. And they use heroic intervention. Heroic intervention, however, does not give you charge priority as learned. So these Stern Guards go at the same time as the ATV does. However, the Raveners go first and the Hormigons go first. The Raveners can only target the Stern Guards, which they're base-to-base contact with. So let's have a look, shall we? Hyperactive Raveners have a strength 3 attacks each, hitting on freeze, strength 5, AP 2, damage 2. However, the Prime is a synapse creature, as dictated by the ability here. It's a synapse, if we actually know, as the ability synapse, however, we scroll down here, go into more information, we'll find out that the Ravener Prime is the only synapse creature. Since the Ravener Prime is part of the squad, actually, I'll zoom in for you. Don't know what happened there. Oh god. The Ravener Prime is, well, a synapse creature. So, anything within 6 inches of the Ravener Prime, which would be the Hormigons and the Ravener's unit, have +1 to their strength. This means that if we have a look at their weapons, they're now strength 6 weapons. So let's do the Prime first. 6 attacks going into the Stern Guard on freeze. Strength 6. Oh god. Strength 6, AP 2, damage 2. Go into the Stern Guard. Let's have a look here. Wrong one. Stern Guard veterans. 34. This means the Raveners are hitting on freeze. Hitting on freeze. Wounding on freeze, because strength 6. AB2 means these guys are sitting on fire. So, let's do it first. Hitting on freeze, wounding on freeze. Don't believe Raveners have any special abilities. Nope, just the unit has sustained hits 1. So any critical hits I'm about to roll, any 6s, add an extra wound to this guy. So, we scored 1 critical. However, we did roll 2 2s and a 1. So that critical brings it to 4 attacks. Wounding on freeze with no benefits. Even though it's anti-monster and anti-vehicle, there are no benefits. For a wounding, the Space Marines now need to make 4 5-up saves. They make 2 of them. The Reveler Prime does 2 damage, as seen. Space Marines each have 2 wounds. This means that 2 Space Marines flat out die. And now then, we're going to go into the regular units now. There are 4 of these models. Each only have 3 attacks, half the attack of the Prime. So that means that, given this, that is 9. There is 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12 attack. These are 12 attacks, still making on freeze, no rerolls, but sustained hits 1. Now I do get a sustained hit. However, I do miss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots. Only 1 comes back, so I miss 4 shots. Wounding on 3, no special bonuses here. I failed to wound twice, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 go through. Let's double check the stat block counter. Ravenous, Heavy Claws, and Talons are all the same. This means it needs to make 5 saves on 5 ups. However, we need to do this one at a time for a reason. Failure, success, failure, failure. That is the 3 Stone Guard veterans dead. Now then, the leader of the Stone Guard veterans, the Judiciary, has, as can be seen, a 4-up invuln, which means even though he should be saving on 5s, he actually saves on 4s. And succeeds, even if it was a 5. Actually, I forgot to record that, so... Still succeeds on a 6 this time. He lives. However, now it's the Hormagaunts' turn. Actually, wait, I think I screwed this up. I do apologise. I screwed it up. I apologise. So, here's where we can tell where Alfie screwed up. The Judiciary gives his unit fight first, so, in actual fact, he should have gone first. This unit will be going into the Hormagaunts. I will then kill the unit off, again, but the unit will be going into the Hormagaunts. Besides the Judiciary, he has 5 attacks with precision. He's allowed to dictate when this attack will go. He's going to put this attack into the Winged Tyranid Prime, the one he was fighting earlier, in the 1v1. So he's got 5 attacks. Weapon skill 2, strength 7, AP 2, damage 2, into a Tyranid Prime. G5 save 3 up means that, effectively, this is hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, saving on 5s, damage 2. Let's do this. So, webcam on 2s, hits all of them, which is nice. 5 attacks, wounding on 3s, got 1 failure, that's 4 on 5s. Saves 2 of them, fails 2. The Tyranid Prime has 6 wounds. The Juicy unit only does 2 damage, so unfortunately the Tyranid Prime lives on 2 wounds. The squad does not gain the precision keyword, I believe. If we have a look here, Standard Guard veterans. Now, Astartes Chainsword plus 4 with close combat weapons. We can actually check this on the app itself. I'm just going to replace the Standard Guard Mount Rifle. Yep. They have both pistols and weapons. So, we have one with an Astartes Chainsword. The rest are close combat weapons. So, the Astartes Chainsword's first is 6 attacks. No benefits at all. 6 attacks. 6 attacks. Weapon skill 3. Strength 4. Into Hormigons, which are T3. So this is wounded on 3. So freeze, AP 1, damage 1. So for now, this is 6 attacks. On freeze. Fails 3 of them. Wounded on freeze is Hormigons, as discovered last episode, if you remember, RT3. So wounded on freeze with strength 4. 2 more fails. Hormigons have a 5-up save. This is AP 1. This means it's saving on a 6-up. Hormigon fails, 1 is dead. Now then, onto the close combat weapons. As you can see, each close combat weapon has 4 attacks. There are 4 in this squad. So that means you have 16 attacks, hitting on freeze, wounding on freeze, hitting on freeze, wounding on freeze, saving on 5. Hitting on freeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them miss. So now we're down to 10 attacks wounded on freeze. Miss. We now have 3 5-ups to make the Tyranids. The Tyranids make 1 5-up. 2 more Hormigons are dead. And now the sword is wiped besides the Judiciary because the Raveners went into them. Now the Hormigons get to go next. And they're going to plug their attacks into... The Hormigons are going to go next. They're going to plug their attacks into the ATV. So Hormigons have 3 attacks each. Now we've removed 3 Hormigons. So now it's only a squad of 7. So 7, 14, 21 attacks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 attacks. We'll do this 10 at a time. Hitting on 4s. Strength 4 because within Synapse. AP 1, damage 1. You look over to an ETV, which is T5. Still wounding on 5s, unfortunately, because strength 4 only. So it's hitting on 4s. But, due to the being led by a Lash Whip, these models have sustained hit 1. So, firstly, we've got 10 attacks so far, hitting on 4s. 1, 2, 3. 3 so far, and there are 2 sustained hits here. So, we've got 5 going in so far. Another 10, because this makes 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another 5, no sustained, just regulars. So that makes 10 attacks. Then 1 more for 21, which is a 4, so it goes in. So we have 11 attacks now. This is 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 10. Moving on to 11. 11 attacks wounded on 5, because this is T4 and T5. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attacks. 6 attacks and AP1. On an ATV, this is a 4-up save. So 6 4-ups. 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 4-up saves. Can the ATV save them all? It doesn't die if it doesn't because these are 1 damage each. Saves 4 of them, so only takes 2 damage. The ATV is down to 6 wounds. Now it's the Prime's turn to go into the ATV. Now, it doesn't have any extra attacks. Actually, this is where we double check something. Go into new recruit here. This website isn't always up to date. So we need to go into... Actually, no, Warhammer PD will be best for this, because then I'd have to create a whole army in that hole. I can just go in here. Going down into Tyranids. Obviously, this is a new unit, so they won't have the best. Tyranid Crown with Lash Whip. Yeah, see, the Lash Whip is a pain. So, we'll go with the Rending Claw. Actually, no. I'm going to go with the Scything Talons here. The reason why we go Scything Talons here we go. The reason why we go for Scything Talons here is with strength 6, but within Synapse range. So it's strength 7. So this would be 6 attacks, hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, wounding on 3s, sorry. AP2, so 5 up saves, 2 damage each. Whereas this is 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s, AP2, damage 3. You lose 2 attacks for an extra damage. Actually, we'll go with Rending Claws, actually. We'll try Rending Claws. 4 attacks on 2s. Hits them all. Wounded on 3s because strength 9 versus T5. Fails 2 of them. 2 saves. I'm using the wrong dice, I'm sorry. 2 saves on 5s. Makes 1 of them. Space Marine is now down to, ATV is down to 3 wounds. Now we're going to go with the Lash Whip as it's an extra attack. Now you may be wondering, why extra attack? Why not just go for Scything Talons? In melee, you're only allowed to select 1 melee weapon profile at a time. Any weapons with the extra attack keyword, ignore this rule. You can do them as much as you want. So you can. Some people have 2 extra attacks, as in yesterday's painting video, we saw Commissar Greaves in her truck has 2 extra attacks, or the new Orc on Warbike, the named one, has 2 extra attacks here. So we have 8 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 5, so wounded on 4s. This is why Synapse is helpful. AP2, damage 1. So let's roll these out, shall we? With actual Tyranid dice this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fail. We fail 1. This also has sustained hits, but we've got no sustained hits there, nor did we get any last time because we got 5 and 4. So this is now 7 attacks wounded on 4s because strength's 5 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 go through. And AP2 means these are on 5s. It is AP2, right? 5 go through at AP2 means on 5s. The Space Marine makes 1 of these, so 4 damage. The ATV now dies. Be removed. So we need to check something here. Specifically on the ATV. You may be wondering what you're meant to check. It's dead. We check if it has a vehicle ability called Deadly Demise. It doesn't, so we don't need to worry about it for now. Alright. Also need to remove this guy because that's all part of them died. Now, having killed the unit, this unit will make a parling move. You can make up to a fringe parling move when you destroy an enemy unit. However, you may think, oh, just go into the next unit over. No, that unit then gets to make melee attacks against you. So instead, you're going to make a parling move into the Judiciary. Parling moves can also be used to get on objectives from a melee fight. We won't be doing that because we don't have objectives today. I'll play with objectives on Wednesday. So basically the parling move is just going to get everyone into this Judiciary. This is the end of the Tyranids player's turn. And so now, it's the Space Marine player's turn. We're going to open moment the Raveners. We're going to open moment the Hornlords. And the Space Marine player has nothing to shoot. Nothing to move. They're not going to move anything. So they're going to move on to shooting immediately. Now, we're going to put the Boltstorm Gauntlet into the Spore Mines. And then they're going to put everything else into the Hornlords. So, the Captain Graphis Armor is going to go into the Spore Mines. 3 attacks, hitting on Well, twos. 3 tanks hitting on twos. Capability also resets. No failures. No sustained either. Now then, wounding on, well, spore mines are T1. So you're wounded on twos, get +1 to wound. So you're wounded on twos still. 3 tanks wounded on twos. Still misses one. Each one is a dead spore mine. Now, spore mines don't have deadly demise, so we don't need to worry about that. But there is still a living spore mine, which is mildly worrying for them. Moving on, everything else is going to go into the Hormagaunts. So, given the fact that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 intercessors. Wait, 8 intercessors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When did we lose an intercessor? We lost 2 intercessors then. When did we lose 2 intercessors? No, I swear. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'd be 9 intercessors. Why are we down an intercessor for? Hang on, we've been down an intercessor this entire time and I haven't noticed. That's odd. I apologise. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 9 intercessors there now. I apologise. I've been running them as 10, but there was only 9 there actually. They're going to put their heavy bolt rifles into the Hormagaunts. They're going to put the heavy bolters into the Hormagaunts. Everything is going into the Hormagaunts. Now, there are only 7 guys remaining now. There's only 14 attack with the bolt rifles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 tanks. Now this would be on hit on freeze. However, this unit has not moved, so it removes stealth. It removes stealth, but they're not stealth, so it's hitting on twos now. 14 attacks hitting on twos. My apologies. Still fails. 1, 2. However, due to the fact it's my over moment target, I can re-roll hit rolls. Still failing 1. Now then, given the fact that these are T3, and these are strength 5 weapons, I believe, we have a look here. Strength 5 weapons. I would be hitting on 5s normally. However, due to the fact these are my over moment target and I'm not using a codex supplement, I get +1 to wound. Means I'm wounding on 2s. Each one of these is a dead Hormagaunt, because even though Hormagaunts have 1 wound, wounds don't carry over. So each shot at a dead Hormagaunt. I still fail one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13, go through, 13. These are AP1, so these are all 6s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's only 8 guys there, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 guys. 7 guys remaining, so 7 6 up. I make 1 6 up. So we roll that again because we still have 8 minus 13, 5 to go. Immediately fails. That's the Hormagaunt dead. With 8 shots, so yeah, because there's 7 there, so 8 shots. 8 shots were used, that's 2, 5 shots left. Wiped out. Oh no, I've been a dumbass this entire time. I'm sorry, they don't have anything to declare shooting in. This is because these lot are infantry models. You cannot shoot units in melee if they're infantry. This is where the infantry keyword comes in. Since they have the infantry keyword, they cannot be shot at in melee. They can only be shot with pistol weapons. So there should only be 3 there. So the Absolver, the Judiciary still gets an attack. The Judiciary still gets the 1 ranged weapon attack here. No longer precision. 1 command point each, I think. I've been keeping track. No, they're on 2 command points each. 2 command points each. Judiciary gets 1 attack, hitting on 3s into the Hormagaunts. Rerolling because they are still my over moment target. Wounding strength 5, so we'll be wounded on 3s down to 2s because +1 to wound. Wounds. Homogons need to make a 6-up save. They don't make the save, one Homogon is indeed dead. Moving on to the charge phase. They aren't going to charge, this lot isn't going to charge. So we'll move on to the fight phase. The Judiciary will be going into the Tyranid Prime. The Judiciary still gets the fight's first ability. Actually, no. He no longer receives the fight's first ability. So he loses fight priority now, because he's no longer leading a unit this turn. So he loses the fight priority list. So the Raveners are going to go in here. Due to the fact that the Judiciary is on 4 wounds, 3 attacks, we're going to go with the Prime first. 6 attacks hitting on 3s with sustained hits 1. That's 2 sustained hits, 3 sustained hits, sorry. 2 failures, so those 2 come back with an extra dice. Sustained hits allow you to go to over the maximum number of attacks. So there's now 7 attacks. Wounding strength 7, so wounding strength 5, I think. This is wounding on 3s. I remember that. Fails to wound twice. Yes, fails to wound 3 times actually. So that needs to make 4 4-up saves, as it has a 4-up in bonus. 4 4-up saves. It makes them all. Now, this is why you don't call a unit dead. You roll it out. 3, 3, 3, 3. 12 attacks going in from the Raveners themselves. From the Raveners, hitting on 3s with sustained 1. 1, 2 sustained, however I miss 1. I only miss 1, so 1 comes back actually, and I get an extra 1. I'll be using this white dice over here. Now it's 13 attacks wounded on 3. 13 attacks wounded on 3s. I fail 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 on 4-ups. If I fail 2 lines in, the Raveners do 2 damage a pop. I fail 4 of them, so that's double the amount of health, so the Juicy is very dead. That is the end of the fight phase. Unfortunately, Judiciary doesn't get anything special. So now moving on to turn 3. We're going to call it Vet. Actually, no, we're not. Tyranids turn 3. Or if units have 3 command points. They're just going to move the Raveners. Move 6 inches over here. Prime still has 2 wounds, but it's also the remote target. Then moving on to the immediate, they're also going to move the Spore Mine. The Spore Mine has a fun ability. Spore Mine has a 4-inch move. So it's going to move 4 inches. He's actually going to advance as well. For an extra inch. They will use a command point, the Tyranid player, to reroll that. For a 5 extra inch movement. The Spore Mine is going to come in. Now you can't get within an inch of the model. This is called engagement range. So you can only move there. However, the Spore Mine will now use its ability. Each time this unit or an enemy unit ends a move, for each model this unit is within 3 inches of one or more enemy models, select one of those enemy models. Now I need to roll a d6. On a 2 to the 5, they take mortals. On a 6, they take even more mortals. That's a 6. The enemy suffers d3 mortals. Now, if this gets a 5 or a 6, d3s, how you roll a d3 is you roll a d6 and halve the result. Rounded up. For example, I rolled a 2 here. Half the result, 1. One of those Space Marines is now on 2 wounds. The Spore Mine is then removed. It dies. Now, moving on to the shooting phase, we're going to shoot the Hyperadaptive Raveners into that Space Marines unit again. D6 plus 3 shots. 4 shots. I've already used command reroll this turn, so I can't use it. 4 shots. These are wounded on freeze because wounded on strength 5, P6. Hang on, let me just check. Yep, strength 6, so wounded on. I picked up the dice, I'm an idiot. Wounded on freeze, that's 2 failures, so 2 go through. It's AP minus 1, so saving on 4s. 1 failure. This is 1 damage pop, so 1 Space Marine is down on 1 wound. Onto charges, Tyranid Prime is going to charge. Makes it in on a 5, just. And the Space Marine player will spend 1 of its command points to Overwatch. Now they're going to Overwatch. So 3 tanks from the leader turn. Hitting on 6s with rerolls because they're still open moment. So we get 2 rerolls there. I scored a 6. No 6 on that one. Strength 4, so wounding from 3s to 2s. Wounds. This is a AP1 weapon, I believe. Yes, it is an AP1 weapon. So, a 6-up Tyranid save or a Homogaunt dies. Fails the save, Homogaunt dies. Now it's on the weapons here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's still 9 of them. So 14 attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14 attacks. Hitting on 6s with rerolls because of over moment. There's 2 6s in that entire set. So 12 attacks. Hitting on 6s. An additional 3, so that's 5 attacks. Strength 5, so would be wounded on 3s down to 2s. Still fails 1. That's 4 heavy bolt rifle shots. AP1, so that's 4 6-ups that have to be made now. 4 6-ups that have to be made. Fails all but 1, so 3 more Termagants die. Now for the heavy bolters. Each one of these heavy bolters is 3 attacks, so this is 6 attacks in total. Hitting on 6s with reroll. Hits once. Another 6. Another 6. Now you may be wondering, this is a sustained hits weapon. You are correct. These weapons are great to hit in Overwatch because every hit counts as an extra. So it's 2 extra dice. So these are 4 attacks, wounding on 2s. All wound is an AP1. Now I need to do these 2 at a time because they're AP1. So these are on 6s. Fails both, so both Termagants are now dead. Or Homogauts are now dead. Apologies. Now you got 2 more on 4 because these are Tyranid Warrior with Whiplash. Fails 1, so it's all wound. Now then. Raveners are going to charge. Raveners are going to charge it. 1 on 11. They make it very far. Now the Tyranid Prime goes first. 6 attacks. 6 attacks. Tyranid Prime is 6 attacks. No, sorry. It's we're going to go with the 6 attack option. Mainly because I'm still wounding you on. Actually, no. We'd be wounding on 2s then. Strength 7. No. Then D5. No. T4 or T5. Hang on, let me check. They are T6. Christ. And then Terminators. So, yes, go with Cyber Talons. 6 attacks hitting on 2s. Then wounding on 2s because it would be strength 7 because it's within Synapse. AP2 damage to it. 6 attacks on 2s. It was leading the unit this turn, so it still gets the lead in the unit path. So it still gets the sustained hits. So we got 1 sustained, so 1 dice comes in. 7. Wounding on 2, because wounding on 3, sorry, because strength 7 now due to Synapse. Fails 1, 2. So that is now 5 AP2s, so 5 on freeze. Each Space Marine player now has to make. Each one is 2 damage. Well, that's made 1. So the first 2 damage kills 1 Space Marine. The set of the so it fails 2, so it's only got 3. So yeah, the next 2 damage kills another Space Marine. Because now it's the Ravener's turn. However, the opponent will be sending their 2 command points on a really weird stratagem. Known as Heroic Intervention. Not you. Not you. Not you. Not you. Not you. Not you. Counter offensive. After the enemy unit fall, your unit can fight. Now then, this unit will be going into the prime. Will be going into the Ravener, sorry. So, what we're looking at now. Sorry, I didn't actually show you this. Not Epic Challenge, sorry. Counter offensive. This is a 2-piece strategy. So, Space Marine player will use all their command points here. So the captain is going to go first into the Raveners with his master-crafted relic blade. So it's 2 attacks, hitting on 2s. This is going to go... We're going to put the relic blade into the prime. We're going to put the hammer fist into the Raveners. So we're going to go 2 attacks hitting on 2s first. With rerolls because the prime is still up at the moment. Good thing we have rerolls, ladies and gentlemen. Both hit. This is now a strength. This is a strength 5 weapon going to a T5 target. So wounded on freeze because Oath of the Moment gets +1 to wound. 2 on AP2 means that has to make a 5-up save. 2 5-up saves. The Ravener is dead, but the Tyranid player will spend 1 command point to make that a reroll to further kill the Ravener. Prime, sorry. The Prime is now dead. Now, the other weapon, the Power Fist, will be going into the Primes. Going into the Raveners. So it's 5 attacks. Hitting on 2s, strength 8 going into the Raveners, we'll check later. Now 5 attacks going into the Raveners. All hitting. Now the Raveners are T5. So they're T5, so a strength 8 weapon, like the Power Fist, will be wounding them on freeze. Fails to wound once. And the Raveners have a 4-up save, so that's 4 with AP2, meaning these are 6-ups. 4 6-ups. Fails them all. So how much damage is that each? Oh god, did I record that bit? No, I didn't. So we'll do that again. 4 6-ups. Succeeds 3 of them now. Each one is, of course, each one is 2 damage, and the Ravener Prime has 3 wounds. So 1 is on a single wound. Now we need to do the close combat weapons. But first, each squad is assigned. Oh no, there isn't. The sergeant doesn't get any weapons. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 units left, each with 3 attacks as they're using their close combat weapons here. 3 attacks each. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 21. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So 9. 12. 15. 18. 21. 21 attacks hitting on freeze. No benefits. Strength. These are strength 4s, so wounding on 4s because they're wounding on 5, sorry, because T5. What does T5? Yeah, Brother does a T5, so wounding on 5s. The strength 4. We will show this before I pick them up. Oh no, it's already on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 go through at AP0, so that's 4 on 4-ups. Fails 3 of them. The Tyranid cannot command reroll, so it's 1 on a wound, 1 is flat out dead. Now the Raveners get to fight back. Prime will go first. 3 attacks hitting on 3 with sustained hits. That is a failure. No sustained hits. That's 3 failures actually. Strength 6, so wounded on fours because within synapse. That is all failures. Now we have 3 things left. Now this is 9 attacks now. 1, 2, 3. 9 attacks hitting on trees with sustained hits 1. That's 2 sustained hits. So 2 no, so 1 miss. So that's now 8 attacks wounded on fours because T5 to T6. That is failing. Oh, that's only 2 hits. 2 AP2, so these are on 5s. 3, that's 2 damage each, so 1 Space Marine is now dead. These Space Marines have already fought. It's now on to their Space Marine's turn. One stratagem, the thingy is going to move there, so we're going to do this. These what? When with their ranged attacks, they have pistol weapons. So, the Sergeant's going to fire his Boltstorm Gauntlet, which is his pistol weapon. 3 attacks, hitting on twos with rerolls, I believe. 3 attacks, hitting on twos with rerolls because, over a moment, that's 3 attacks. Strength 4 into Ravenous would be on 5s, but over a moment gets +1 because I'm not using the supplement. So wounded on 4s. That's still a failure, but now that's 2 saves at 80 -1, so on 5s. Both failed. Each is 1 damage. That's a Ravener on 2 wounds, another Ravener dead. Now they all have pistols. Each pistol is, well, let's see. These pistols are 1 attack each. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. There's 6 guys, so 6 pistol shots. Hitting on 3s. Strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. So hitting on 3s with reroll because over the moment. Over a moment. All hitting. So 6 attacks. Strength 4, so would be wounded on 5s, down to 4s because over a moment. Still fails 4 of them. There's 2 4-ups to make from the Raveners. Fails 1 of them, so a Ravener is down to 1 wound. Onto the fight phase. Now the Raveners did charge, so they get to fight first. So Prime is going to do the 6 attacks again. 6 attacks. Sustained hits. Really making it up for now because there's an extra 2 attacks going in. Wounding on 4 because T6 now. Oh, still a lot. 3 on 5s. Made 2 of them, so a single guy is on single guy is dead on 1 wound. Now then, the rest. So there's 2 of them remaining. 6 attacks, sustained hits 1. No sustained, 3 misses. Wounding on 4s. Double failures. So 1 on a 5. Does kill the Space Marine. Now it's to fight back. So, going with the Relic Blade first. Relic Blade first. This is 2 attacks, hitting on 2s with rerolls. Strength 5, so 3s now. AP 2 damage 2. Yeah. Rerolling that. Hits. Wounded on 3s now, I believe. Relic Blade, Strength 5. Oh, wounded on 3s now, yeah. So 1 failure. So it's 1 AP2, so 1 on 6. Ravener dies. Then for his Power Fist attack, which is 5 attacks. 5 attacks. Hitting on 2s. With rerolls, because over the moment target. That's a cocked dice. Cocked dice means the dice is rather unreadable, or has put in a position which it suddenly stopped rolling, or fell off the table, or something and needs to be re-rolled. 5 attacks wounded on 2s because Strength 8 with +1 to wound. Still fails 2, that's 3 on 6s. Succeeds once, that is just 1 more dead Ravener. Now it's just the Prime left. Each one of those five guys has 3 attacks on their close combat weapon. 3 attacks. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 15 attack, hitting on 3 with rerolls. All but 1 hit, 14 attacks. Wounding on 4s because strength 4, so would be wounded on 5s with +1 to wound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 attacks on 4s. The Prime has 6 wounds, double the wounds of the regular Raveners, so it needs to save at least 2 of these on 4s. We get 1, 2. It takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Prime is dead, but the Tyranid player has a command point, so we'll be rerolling 1 of those. It was 6. The Prime is now on 1 wound. The Prime is now on to turn 5. I'm going to call it there, mainly because this is a 1 wound Prime in the Space Marines turn, where it will be turn 5, where it'll be the Tyranid's turn. The Fender gets to go fight first because this is now prolonged combat, meaning basically, after all charge fights have been dealt with, all fights have gone on for more than 1 turn, so the charge turn is turn 0, then the turn after the charge is turn 1, all charges after turn 2 of the charge, so 2 turns after the 1 turn after the charge, are classified as prolonged combats. Once all charge fights have commenced, the defending player, the person whose not turn it is, gets to pick the first fight. Then you go back and forth, basically. Go back and forth, picking different fights. This would mean Space Marine player gets to go first and attack the Prime. Unfortunately, I'd say the Prime is dead with 5 Space Marines and an over-movement target. We didn't get to do Shadows in the Warp, unfortunately. Also forgot to show off Battle Shock. This is the general premise of the game. I'll be showing off Orcs and Eldar. Not Orcs. We'll do Imperial Guard and Orcs. Yeah, we'll do Imperial Guard and Orcs on Wednesday. Good night. Everyone get some rest, or if this is good morning, good morning. Hope you have a good day. See you guys later.